In an extraordinary turn of events, independent candidates endorsed by and affiliated to the incarcerated former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan's party, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, have won the most number of seats in the National Assembly. According to the Election Commission of Pakistan, independent candidates have won 98 seats, where 169 seats are needed to form a clean majority government. Despite assertions of his party, the Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz Party or PMLN, having won and ready to form a coalition government, it won only 69. Former Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, until recently on the run from a corruption related conviction, returned to contest but does not seem to have been given anything approaching a mandate. To understand the election's aftermath, Mayank Chhaya Reports spoke to Beena Sarwar, a well-known Pakistani journalist, writer, documentary filmmaker, and political analyst from Lahore. The interview was conducted on February 9th, before the Election Commission announced most of the results. Beena Sarwar. Welcome to Mayank Chhaya Reports. Beena, it's a great pleasure to have you.
Likewise, Mayank, thank you so much for having me.
Do you think that the PTI has or is set really to win, or is this a case of premature articulation by its men?
Yeah. I think that until the election commission calls it, I would not say that they have won. PTI has been in the running for some time. They've, like they boycotted one set of elections and they came in last time. We know how they came in. And they always say they won. I mean, which is not to say they haven't got support. They have huge support. And I've spoken to a lot of people yesterday and a couple of days before all over the city in Karachi where I was. And of course, they have huge support. But to say that they have won would be definitely premature articulation.
At this stage, the trends are, you think, in favor of the PTI winning eventually, if everything is fair.
Well, so what trends are you going by? I mean, I don't know. To be honest, I haven't. I'm not looking at social media right now. I'm not following the TV channels. I was following the TV channels until late last night. But then, like you can't really tell what an election result is going to be. I mean, I think it's difficult, especially in a case like this, when there's so many contenders right now. There's the PPP, there's the PMLN, there's PTI, and they each have their supporters. Even MQM and even Labbaik and even Jamaat-e-Islami have their supporters. And I think that to say that for any one party to say that they have definitively won, which we've seen other parties do that before. PTI is not the first to do that at all. So I mean, it's politics. It's all about optics. They're trying to and then if the ECP announces that they have not that they're second or third or whatever, then they'll cry foul. I mean, that's already in the. I mean, if they win, it's fine, and if they don't win, then they'll cry foul.
Right, but their case is that their turnout of their base has been phenomenal, and that should translate into their victory. Anyway, that's beside the point. But irrespective of what happens, do you see any measure of stability, political stability, returning to Pakistan?
You know what I observed yesterday in Karachi, Mayank? I went all over the city after casting my vote. I went all over the city, and I definitely met and talked to a lot of PTI supporters, and there were several PPP and also some PMLN even in Karachi. And what I observed, which I really appreciated, was that I saw a degree of civility and political maturity that really made me happy. For example, I spoke to a lot of people who were sitting in small groups. Like I'll give you the example of there were three young men sitting inside a rickshaw, right outside Liari, the entrance to Liari, which is a PPP stronghold. So each of them was voting two of them were voting for different parties, one for PPI, one for PTI, one for PPP. And the third was like, I'm not voting for anybody, they're all thieves. But they were all sitting together.
Okay.
And they drove off together.
Okay.
And you didn't have the kind of mukkabazi that you're seeing the thing on social media, and the kind of rancor that you're seeing on social media and in this on TV and stuff, and all this bharak by the politicians, I did not see any evidence of that among the people that I met
I
yesterday in
see.
Karachi, in different parts of the city. And I think that was really something that showed, and there was a level of calm that I saw. And yes, PTI supporters were definitely much more charged up because they feel that they're being oppressed, and they are being oppressed, and they are being victimized. But just to put it in context, it's not the first time a political party has been victimized in
Right.
Pakistan, and which is not to say it should be, which is not to say it should be at all. But yeah, I think that's my observation from yesterday, and today also. Like, I'm
Does
talking to
the,
people in Lahore now, so yeah.
oh, does the military have any incentive in tampering in the event that PTI is running away with the elections?
Does the military have an incentive? Uh, who knows? Like, I can't speak for the military, but I mean, they have an incentive, as in, well, look at it this way. Project Imran Khan, which brought him to power in 2018, which is not to
Right.
say he would not have won a good number of seats, but with the help he got from the militablishment, as some people call it, with that help he got a sizable number more constituencies than he would have had otherwise. And we've seen this pattern before also. We've seen this with MQM, we've seen this with PMLN, with them being given a leg up by the establishment. And then when things don't pan out, then they withdraw, the favor is withdrawn, and not just that, then you see political victimization. But um, it's just something that I think they'll have to I think unless they stop tampering with politics, stop interfering in politics, we're going to keep seeing more of the same. But I do want to say that democracy is a process, not an event, right? So it's an ongoing thing. And what we're seeing in Pakistan, I would say, is two steps forward, one step back, perhaps, and that's still one step forward.
Right. Right. When do you expect the election commission to actually certify the outcome?
It should be any time now. It should be. I mean, we're speaking, Friday evening, Lahore time. Friday. It's
Right.
5:30 p.m. here. It should be within the next few hours, or by night for sure. But there
I
is a
see.
delay, which should not. This delay should not be there. But again, this is not the first time. But which is, again, is not to
Right.
say that it's right and it should not be happening.
Yeah. Right. In terms of Imran Khan's future, if the PTI wins, of course, there is a legal process involved if he has to come out, even on bail. Do you think this augurs well for him, or it's still curtains for him, irrespective of whether the PTI wins?
I think one of the things that we are seeing is that the large number of independents that have come out, who are basically PTI supporters, whose election symbol was taken away from them. They weren't allowed to contest as a party because of technicalities, and those technicalities, I mean, certainly is there in terms of, the party not having held internal elections, which was a technicality. They were like, you can't, contest as a party if you don't have internal elections. Um, but the fact that people have come out, that it's energized so many people. I think that's good. About Imran Khan himself, he's a very dogged, person, as we've seen. He is very, very determined, and like, just he will, keep going, and that's good, I'm sure. But I'm sure he'll keep
Right.
making his efforts. I think that what
Right.
he might learn from this experience, which might serve him well, in if he is to actually come forward in politics and be a statesman, would be the injection of a little humility, a little ability to, ability to compromise on issues and with other political parties. We've seen compromise in terms of him saying that earlier on, like the corruption, the corruption narrative that, of course, the military establishment, of course, has been, saying politicians are corrupt,
Right.
politicians kharab hai, gande hain, वगैरह वगैरह. And of course, we know that that's not the only issue, and politics is about give and take, and corruption is a secondary kind of a. I mean, it is a major issue for sure, and there needs to be accountability for sure. But to throw the baby out with the bathwater and say I'm the only one who will do it, uh, one person
Right.
alone can't do it. There has to be a system. And when he started to build this party, he brought all these people along with him who were the old guard, who had all these allegations of corruption and stuff against them already. So, you know, there's an element of hypocrisy, I would say, that he might be well advised to
Right.
examine and like be a little bit more self aware about these kind of things. I think it would be very good for the country, for him, a bit of learning, bit of growing up.
Right. In this specific context of the Tosha Khana case and classified documents leakage case, how do you see in terms of the merit? Is it just a vendetta, as the PTI says, or there is something to it?
So basically the thing is that, it's like until they were out of favor, it was all fine. So there is vendetta there for sure, but then there is, and we've seen this again. I'll say my own with multiple political parties and politicians before.
Right.
It's not, this is not the first time. Things are overlooked and allowed to, irregularities are allowed because you're one of our boys, one of ours. And the minute that you feel ke somebody has overstepped their bounds or is not listening, hamari billi hami se meow, as the saying goes. And
Ji.
there's a huge element of vindictiveness that comes in, that may not be that, that might be more. I mean, but we've had like very, very extreme political vendetta in this country. We've seen a prime minister hanged. We've seen an elected prime minister hanged. We've
Right.
seen, the country dismembered in 1971, um, with a
Right.
little help from our friends. So
Indeed. Yeah.
yes.
What do you think about the daggers drawn politics of Pakistan? It's perpetual. Everybody is just ready to unsheath from their scabbard, as it were, a sword
Yeah.
or a knife. It goes on.
Yeah. So I think again, like I said, like the what I saw on the ground was not like what we are seeing in
Okay.
on this, the kind of optics we are seeing, the kind of televised bharak, the social media stuff that we are seeing. Really not that um
Right.
team on the ground. Um, so I really think that what everybody needs a little bit more of is some adult behavior and sort of like just sort of learn. I'll tell you something very wise. This young man, he's a driver. He's that I went around with yesterday. He's from the Hazara area, and he's a PTI supporter. And he couldn't vote because his vote is in his village, and he hadn't got re-registered in Karachi. And I've spoken to actually a lot of PTI supporters, not just PTI, but also others, by the way. Slight digression here. A lot of people who couldn't vote because their votes are in the gaon mein, in the village. And there's a lot of
I
migrant
see.
labor,
Right.
a lot of people. So a lot of people didn't work, polling agents, security people, whatever. I was telling you about what this young man said, what he said to me. He said, Siyasat kare nafrat nahi. Do politics, not hatred.
That's
Siyasat
right.
kare nafrat nahi.
How about?
You know?
Yeah, I was asking you about the daggers drawn politics of
Yeah,
Pakistan.
and
That
I'm
was the
saying that
question.
what I saw among people yesterday was not draggers drawn politics in Karachi. And Karachi is a
Okay.
microcosm of Pakistan, 10% of the country's population, where all the political parties there are in Karachi, right? In Punjab, there'll be a dominance of
Right.
PMLN. In Sindh, there's a dominance of PPP. In the KP, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, you'll see mostly PTI. But in Karachi, they're all there together. So Punjab, I also know that people in Punjab who had been traditional Noon League supporters have voted for PTI as well. I did come across that as well. But that doesn't mean that they have won. And the draggers in Karachi on the ground, I didn't see, people, you know, daggers drawn. And like I said, they were sitting together and voting for
Right.
different parties.
Do you fear that any outcome that the election commission would eventually certify has the potential to trigger some kind of unrest by some party or the other?
Well, of course. I mean, there will be, that again, that always happens. There'll be parties who'll say that, this was not fair to them or whatever. And certainly we can see in many areas what was not fair and what wasn't fair. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, in the, I think that saying we're not going to play, which is what they've done in the
Right.
past, is not really helpful. It doesn't take things forward. Boycotting does not help take things forward. It's a way of registering protest. But violence does not take things forward either. So I think that
Right.
maybe these elections will help people to sort of like start to settle down and to realize that they need to, you know, like I said, exhibit a bit more adult behavior, use their words more than their fists and weapons. Hopefully,
Right. On,
yeah.
on that note, Beena, I want to thank you for your time. It's been great talking to you. I greatly appreciate this.
Thank you so much, man. Lovely talking to you.